students. Today we are going to discuss the summary of the novel Surfacing. Surfacing is Margaret Atwood's second and most poetic novel. It was published in 1972 and was reviewed as almost exclusively as a feminist or ecological treatise, whereas in Canada it was reviewed almost exclusively as a nationalistic one. In Britain, where the novel was published early in 1973, these political implications were of less importance than its theme of psychological quest. So, we see that this novel is reviewed through different angles, and if we read the story or if we summarize the story of this novel, it's quite simple at the surface level. We are introduced to the protagonist of the novel, but she remained unnamed throughout the novel. She comes back from Toronto to northern Quebec, where she lived as a child, to look for her father, who is reported to have disappeared mysteriously. The protagonist now works as a commercial artist, and she seems to have returned to the place after almost 9 years. She had totally cut herself off from her parents all these years, except that she once visited her ailing mother in hospital. Her long separation had been deliberate, as she was in love with a married man who exploited her innocence and then refused to marry her, saying that he was already married and had children. And he suggested that she should undergo an abortion to get out of the situation she had landed herself into. Anyhow, she had the pregnancy terminated against her wishes and could not face her parents after this incident. She is totally shattered and disturbed. Therefore, she sent her parents a postcard giving a different version, thinking that they would be shocked to learn of reality, because she herself is unable to cope with the painful reality. Therefore, she devised a more acceptable reality for herself as well. What she did is that she imagined that she was married and had a child, but she had lost him to a husband whom she divorced. She gave her parents this story about the disastrous incident in her life. She now decides to return to the island because her botanist father is reported to be missing from his cabin on a lake somewhere in the Laurentian Shield County. She wants to locate him to unveil the mystery. Her father's friend, when Mr. Paul has written to her that her father has mysteriously vanished and that nobody has been able to locate him. So she decides to search for him herself. And she came to this place. Now, there are several possibilities, like he may be lost in the woods, or he may have gone mad, or maybe he is dead. So, this unnamed heroine comes to this island with the three companions: her lover Joe, with whom she is sharing a flat in the city, and her casual friends David and Anna, who are husband and wife. All along her search for her father, she wishes him to be alive. But finally, she discovers that he is dead. He got drowned. The question that disturbs her: whether her father got drowned by accident or by the evil designs of America's notorious Central Intelligence Agency, she is unable to solve this mystery. However, the fact of her father's death by drowning brings back to her all the traumatic memories of the aborted fetus, memories lying dormant in her subconscious. These memories now surface and she is haunted by a guilt complex. She considers herself to be a killer of her own child. Even though she was forced to abort her child against her wishes, she could have resisted it. She would have allowed the child to be born out of wedlock as the man had refused to marry her. She now has the courage to defy the institution of marriage as it involves the exploitation of women. Considered her a mere puppet at the mercy of man. She finds it difficult to reconcile herself with the fact that a wife becomes the possession of her husband after marriage and he is free to treat her in the manner he likes to. Meanwhile, during her desperate search for her father, the protagonist is shocked at the mutilation, the ruin caused to the island and the lake by the American tourists who, she feels, enjoy destroying nature. The Americans destroy nature for their sport as they are anti life and anti nature. She, who has believed in non violence since her childhood, protests against the monstrous indifference to the suffering of other living beings or other living forms. She gradually comes to believe that she is herself anti nature, as she had tried to subvert nature by getting her fetus aborted. And therefore, she must compensate for her anti nature activity. She decides that she must now bear a child and bring it up as a natural human being. She surfaces now after realizing the truth about herself. The lies she had been piling one upon another for herself as well as for others as an escape from reality she could not confront are shattered. She comes face to face with the truth about her situation. And what is that? That she was never married, therefore, the question of divorce did not arise, and that she had not lost her husband in the court, that her pregnancy was terminated against her wishes, as she was not married to the person who had impregnated her, and that she, too, was indirectly responsible for terminating her pregnancy. Now, the only way to compensate for this anti nature act is to ensure that she gets pregnant, the baby is born, and is allowed to grow up as a natural human being. And for this, she uses Joe to get pregnant and then she refuses to marry him. So, in this way, she exploits Joe in order to avenge her disgrace at the hands of a previous lover who used her and later refused to marry her. The roles are now reversed, and the quest of the protagonist is complete. Having discovered her own power, the protagonist now confront herself, the reality as well as the pervasive meanness of non-violence. So in this way, the title of the novel is also very suggestive. We'll discuss about it in our next video. Till then, thank you.